We're gonna move on to the other Pac-12 letdown. The two teams in the Pac-12 championship, both starting off the year 0-1. I mean, granted, they both did play an SEC caliber team, but Utah, ranked 7 in the country at the time of that game, lost to unranked Florida in a thriller, 26-29.
I I probably wouldn't even say that Utah lost the game. I think Florida just won the game. Utah did not play bad. I
Yeah.
thought Utah. I thought they actually played pretty good, and their defense was pretty good. Again, playing in the swamp is super hard to do, but Anthony Richardson won Florida that game.
Yeah.
I think it was more of a Florida win than a Utah loss.
I'm not going to say too much about this game right now. Hint, hint, because I plan on talking about it later. But Florida was unranked. Utah was what? Seven?
Seven.
Six? Seven? And the AP has them at 12 and 13. Of course, Florida over Utah.
Yeah.
So these teams, I think, may actually have been more even than everybody thought going in. Granted, Florida did have the advantage of playing at home. They were playing with a lot of emotion. And the question I was going to ask you guys is, has Utah or Oregon, I mean, they both obviously, everybody in the Pac-12 has a chance of winning the Pac-12, but have either of these teams lost their chance of being a playoff team?
I would say Oregon for sure. Probably not Utah though.
I think it depends with Utah because we have no idea what Florida's going to be. If Florida turns out to be first or second, third in the East, maybe end up 9-3, 8-4, somewhere in that caliber, and you lost by 3 on the road week 1, that's not going to matter if you win out. Now, I think you do have to win out. I don't think that a 10-2 Pac-12 champion makes it in, especially because there's just going to be so many teams that have a chance to go 11-1.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say Utah has to win the rest of their games, and it would help. It doesn't kill them, but it would help if Florida stays ranked. You know, obviously the higher the better, because at the end of the season, if you're 11-1 and your only loss came to a ultimately top 10 Florida team that may have finished 9-3 or 10-2 or something like that, I think that makes them look good. I don't know what Oregon can do to make a 49-3 thrashing.
No,
I think
it's over for them. Now they can still win the Pac-12, but I think they're out playoff.
Okay, we're gonna stick with Florida for a second. Got kind of a double-halved question. Rob, what do you think that Anthony Richardson and in turn Florida's ceiling is this year?
Win total? Well, let me go to my trusty prediction board. I had Florida finishing the season 8-4. So, you know, I don't want to put too much stake into what they did. I mean, obviously, they've got a new coach. They were playing at home, a lot of expectations, a lot of, you know, a lot of people not really knowing who they are. So I don't want to go overboard on them. I expected them to win, and they did. So you know, I'm still that they haven't proven to me that they're better than 8-4, and they haven't proven to me that they're worse. You know, we'll have to wait a couple more weeks on that, but you know, they played Alabama. They lost last year by 1 point. I mean, anything is possible in the SEC and anywhere else. I mean, they could hit Georgia if they have some key injuries. They could beat Georgia. I don't remember offhand where they play, but
it's neutral site. Happen.
They could go 10-2 and win the SEC East. You know,
Rob, are you still chalking that in for an A&M win?
What, the Florida game?
Yeah, you're a little more nervous about that game.
There's only 1 or 2, maybe 3 teams that played last week that I would like to reconsider my projections for their season. and we're going to be talking about a couple of them here shortly. But I mean, Florida's good. They played at home. Let's see how they play on the road. I just noticed that the Georgia game, it's a neutral site game, which is probably really a Georgia home game.
No, it's always neutral site. It's in Jacksonville.
It's always in Atlanta.
Jacksonville.
So,
Jacksonville.
Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
That's the biggest outdoor cocktail party.
That's right. That's right. So I think Florida's good. I think them being in the SEC might have given them a little bump in the rankings. If that had been Kansas State or somebody else, maybe they would crack the top 20. But Florida went unranked to number 12. And they did beat a good team, and it was competitive the entire game.
Yeah.
So
great game.
I'm not going to say their ceiling is 12-0. I think they do have a ceiling. There's just too many other good teams, and A&M is one of them.
Yeah, I think Anthony Richardson, I hate to make this a comparison because I don't want to be disrespectful, but his play style is Cam Newton-esque. Like, that's what he reminds me of when I see him on the football field. I'm not saying he's as good, but the play style and how he's able to take the ball and run, but he's also makes some really athletic plays. He runs with power. That's just who he reminds me of the most. And hey, if Florida goes 9-3 or something in that caliber of wins, we might see him in New York as a Heisman finalist. Because he'll have those Heisman type plays, like those Heisman moments you'd call it. And yeah, I was so impressed with him. I didn't know how their passing attack would be. I thought their O-line might struggle a little bit, and I thought they might struggle with some depth because I thought Utah was gonna just pull away, and that pulling away never happened. And
I tell you what, going back to Florida and what their ceiling might be, they play Kentucky this weekend, and I had them winning. More. Say it again.
We'll learn a lot more from them in these.
Yeah. I mean, I have them winning, and Kentucky's supposed to be good, so I would assume it would be a close game. But if they destroy Kentucky, then maybe we need to rethink Florida.
Yeah, Quentin, do you have anything to say? We kind of cut you off.
I mean, I probably would say their ceiling is. I think their ceiling is still like 9-3. I mean, they have Kentucky next week, and then they have I think
Georgia and A&M.
Well, they have an FBS team, and then they have to go on the road to Tennessee. Then they play Georgia. Then they go on the road to A&M, and then they go on the road to Florida State against Jordan Travis, who looked really good.
We'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah. So, and they go on the road to Vandy, so I don't know if they're going to win that game.
Hey, 2-0. What do you got to say now, Rob? Anchor down.
Well, I hope for Vanderbilt's sake they do get that third win, but there's 10 games to go, and they have a great chance of getting the under on the 2.5 games.
Well, at this pace, they're going to win every game.
Yeah, who knows?
If they're going based off the pattern we have right now.
Yeah.
All right, but so that's all we got for Florida Utah right now.